Hello and welcome to our summertime product webinar. I'm Katie Clark. I'm the Director of Core Product here at ActiveProspect, and thank you for joining us. We are going to be talking through our Q2 product review and some stuff that's coming out in Q3. Before we introduce all of my favorite people here on the call, I'm going to go over some logistics for how to use this webinar tool. And so there's a chat icon that you'll see. That's going to be used for general comments and interactions with other participants. There's also a question icon. So if you have any questions that you want us to answer, you would pop those in the question section. There's going to be a couple polls that we post throughout to keep things nice and interactive. So please participate in those. The recording is going to be emailed out tomorrow morning. And so you could share that with any of your colleagues. And then a note on some of the stuff we're going to be posting today. All of the links are for our online customers. And so if you have a CSM and you want to enable any of the products that we're talking about, just contact them. They'll get you started. Okay, everybody. Joining me today are a few of my of the product managers on the AP team. And so why don't y'all introduce yourselves?
All right. Hey, everybody. I'll get started. I'm Christopher Williams, a product manager for TrustedForm, and it is a joy to be here. So hopefully you're ready to have a fun webinar.
Awesome. And my name is Christian Goss. I'm a product manager for LeadsBridge. So looking forward to talking about this with you guys and hope you have a fun time with us.
Hello, everyone. I am Leandro Estrella, Associate Product Manager for LeadConduit. Thanks for joining us today.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Okay, so before we dive into all of the cool stuff that we've built and some stuff that's coming out in the next little bit, we're going to do a little bit of an overview of the product family. And so our vision here at AP is to be the platform for consent-based marketing. Consent-based marketing is the practice of only contacting consumers who have given their prior written consent to be contacted. The objective of that being is that only those active prospects really make it into your funnel. And we're mainly a platform for lead buyers and sellers and anyone contacting leads. Some of the things that we're doing for buyers and sellers are helping you manage your partners, ensuring your leads are compliant, proving and evaluating lead quality, and also helping you increase your performance through campaign optimization. And so we have three primary products: LeadsBridge, which Christian is representing today, where you're integrating major ad platforms with your CRMs and improving your performance by tracking conversions and audience syncing in those the ad platforms. LeadConduit, which is going to be enabling buyers and sellers to streamline their lead flow and reject and make decisions based on some of the leads that are unwanted there. So that's really getting those high quality leads that you want into your CRM and being able to filter and reject the ones that you don't want as part of that lead. And TrustedForm verifies and documents consents while also giving you insights and visibility into experience actually on that lead page. And so individually, as all of these PMs would tell you, these are very powerful tools, but when you use them together, it's really the only way to do consent-based marketing at scale. And so that's really what we're going to talk about today. The first section we're going to really hit on is growing connections, growing your business through connecting with your buyers and sellers. And so it's one of our biggest goals this year is we're trying to really make that interaction as easy as possible when you're collaborating on the platform. And so my first question to the group is, how has AP made it easier for buyers and sellers to work together on the platform?
Yeah, we know that getting aligned with your buyers, especially around technical details, can be a bit of a headache. Whether it's the delivery format or required fields, even minor miscommunications can slow everything down. That's why we are excited to introduce the buyer step, which is a new way for you to collaborate more efficiently and connect directly with your lead buyers inside LeadConduit. Here's how it works. First, you add your buyer step to your flow. From there, you'll be able to invite your buyer to connect. They'll receive a link to accept the invite using their existing LeadConduit account, or also they will be able to create a new free LeadConduit for Partners account. Once they accept, they can configure and test how they receive leads and how to deliver those to their system. This removes the back and forth around setup and lets you focus on getting quality leads flowing faster. You stay in control on what data gets shared, and your buyer is empowered to manage how they want to receive it. Currently, this feature is available for a specific set of customers, so reach out to your CSM if you want to get access to it.
Got it. Okay. So if I'm a lead seller, I can go into my lead delivery flows and I can actually send you, the seller in this case, or the buyer in this case, an invitation where you get to go and configure your lead delivery. And that's all for free, right? Yeah,
Yep.
that's awesome. Okay, great. Another thing that we're doing is starting to create profiles. So in that example where I, as the seller, have invited you as the buyer, once we connect, we'll be able to view each other's company profile. And that'll just give us some transparency of exactly who you're working with. And we have some future plans to add some more information there around the things that we're collaborating on in general. And so I think that's another way that builds on that.
Awesome. Well, TrustedForm is also trying to join in on the party too with connections. I think a lot of it in TrustedForm is a little bit less straightforward, but one of the things that we're really focused on right now is actually making sure that when you buy a lead, you at least know that the person who generated that lead is in the ActiveProspect ecosystem and that we know who that is, so that you can be more assured that it's not some shady, character, so that you can be assured that if you have a problem, ActiveProspect can actually help facilitate anything that needs to happen with that person to make it work. And that's been something that's been coming up a lot more lately as we've talked to customers. First of all, it's because if you've ever had a TrustedForm certificate where you looked at it and you thought, hey, this isn't showing exactly what I thought it was going to show. A lot of times it's not a technical problem. That's, kind of what the lead generator decided to record. So if we don't know who the lead generator is, then we can't reach out to them to ask them to change that for you. So what we're really pushing now is actually having it so that you as a lead buyer actually connects with your sellers and requests them to go and make sure that they confirm ownership of all of the domains that they use to generate leads. So it's a really simple request, but it's going to be super impactful. Anytime when an issue or a problem comes up, you're going to definitely want to know who generated the lead, when stuff goes down for sure.
Yeah. Got it. I think we're launching our first poll. There we go. Poll number 1. What's your biggest concern about the leads that you purchase? Question mark. It's missing a question mark. Gotta love it. Doing it live. First one, low buyer intent or poor performance, lack of prior written consent, I can talk, inauthentic leads, high cost, or leads that are shared, duplicated, or recycled, or other.
This is awesome. And while people are trying to fill out that poll, as we thank you for doing, of course, I just want to say these polls are actually super important because they help to inform product decisions. It'll help us, know what features we want to, help create for you. It just gives us a direction. So hopefully everybody takes the time to go fill that out. Let us know what concerns are out there for you so that we can help.
Awesome. So we are getting all of our results in. We're doing it live. Okay, let's actually close the poll and check out what everybody said. I think that's how that works. Okay, so I'm actually seeing the majority, so 46%, the biggest concern about leads you purchase is low buyer intent or poor performance. Second runner up with 27%, leads that are shared, duplicated, or recycled. That's interesting. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I have to say, it's probably not the most surprising thing. I think everybody wants to get leads that are better, leads that are more likely to actually close and help make you money, right? So there's a lot of things that we're doing to actually help there, and I'm sure we're going to get into some of those for sure. But if you see any trends in your leads that perform, certain ways versus others, let us know because we want to help you find the ones that are actually going to perform the best. So hopefully you're already correlating things like TrustedForm insights with your conversion data and your feedback so that we can, kind of help pinpoint what the things are that are really going to make your leads successful.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Moving right along, how does the platform or the AP platform help monitor changes that may affect your lead flow?
Yeah, we are aware that when your buyer updates their submission docs, like adding new requirements or limits, it can affect your lead delivery. And if you are not in the loop, it can lead to the failed deliveries or delays. To solve this, we have introduced email alerts for submission docs. You'll now get automatic notifications like the ones you see here on the right when a partner updates something important for you, like acceptance criteria, source authentication, or ping limits. This gives you a heads up so you can quickly make adjustments and keep leads flowing without interruption.
Yeah, that's great. And so these are for, again, for those buyer and seller relationships. So if you're connected, you would get these notifications for all the submission docs that have been shared with you and your buyers. That's great. It's really trying to help people be more proactive about any of the lead criteria that's changed and help them prevent any failed leads from happening, right? And so you want to be a little bit more ahead of that instead of just things starting to fail and you not knowing why. And so this is really made to help be more proactive between those partner relationships. Awesome. Launching poll number 2. I feel like we should have like some animation that happens when we launch our polls. All right. The question is, if you sell leads, what processes do you need the most help with? If you sell leads, what processes do you need the most help with? Finding buyers, maximizing profits, post rejections, staying compliant, delivering leads to buyers, or other? Please share in the chat. And then we would need a different animation here of like rolling the dice. They're coming in. Here we go. Okay. Ooh, we've had a flip from finding buyers being on top to delivering leads to buyers. All right. We'll lock it down here. So finding buyers is the number 1 process that you need the most help with. Delivering leads to buyers being that second. Third is actually maximizing profits, and other are coming in third, which is a percentage different. Let's check the chat.
Yeah, for the others, I was looking to see if we have any of those responses in chat.
Who are those others?
Yeah, we definitely want to hear from you, but I'll be the first to say I'm surprised that staying compliant wasn't one of the top answers. I find that to be a very complex and difficult task. Some of you, I kind of wonder if it wasn't your answer because you may not even realize when you're not compliant, but we'll take the result for what they are. And hopefully you were listening to Leandro's spiel because he definitely has some helpful tips in there.
Yeah.
And talking about what Leandro was mentioning, we actually have a question in the Q&A around those automatic notifications when a partner is updating things that are important for you. And the question is, who gets those notifications?
So the seller will get those notifications when the buyer makes the changes in their flow.
Yeah, perfect. And so go ahead.
Just real quick to add on to that, and Leandro, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that from the seller's account, isn't it just the users who have particular permissions, I think they get it?
Yeah, only users with the highest amounts of permissions to access the LeadConduit account will receive the notifications. Also, they should be connected with the buyer with the invite to connect feature.
Yeah, so first level, your account's connected to your seller and your buyer. And then the second one, anyone who has admin permissions. And then I'm pretty sure you can control the email notifications as well as a third level. Yeah, and so for all those people who said that delivering leads to your buyers are difficult, we do have this new buyer step that Leandro walked through, which literally lets your buyers, as the seller, configure their own destination for wherever they want those leads to go in their own account. It's actually free for them as well. And so it's a pretty good way to optimize this process for delivering leads to your buyers. So reach out if you'd like to start using it. All right, next question that I have here are, how are we helping buyers validate the partners they're connected with? And what kind of visibility does the buyer have now into lead origin risk?
It's a great question. I kind of already hit on it a second ago, how we were really just talking about we want people to make sure that when they buy a lead, that ActiveProspect at least knows who generated that lead. And the reason for that is because if you don't, or if no one knows who generated that lead, then that lead is inherently more risky. Generally, anybody who may be generating poor leads, they kind of want to stay anonymized so that no one questions what they're doing, so that they don't get caught up in litigation, all that kind of stuff. If you have somebody who is willing to go into our system, confirm that they own their domains, and kind of step into the light somewhat more, then generally that's a much lower risk lead, because of all those reasons. And then once again, because then they can also be found and identified should that need arise to help with issues that come up. So right now we're really looking at that as a key indicator of lead risk, and we're going to help give you more visibility into that through those charts that I showed before. But also we want to make that information available to you programmatically as well, so that when you get a new lead in, you can make a request to the Insights product, and actually it'll tell you whether or not that lead has a confirmed owner. That'll be super useful if, for example, you have requirements where you want to make sure that all the leads you get actually do have confirmed owners. Then you can actually use that to enforce that policy.
Yeah, and that's something we've been hearing from larger clients as well, right?
Absolutely, more and more.
Yeah, and what's the process for whoever owns the domain to go in and confirm ownership?
Oh, so that's actually pretty simple. Essentially, they just have to go into the ActiveProspect account, click on the domain section on the left-hand side, and then you're going to click add a new domain. You type in the URL to your domain, and then the wizard there will actually guide you through the rest of the process, which essentially just consists of adding a record to your DNS so that we can confirm that it's there and that you own it, and then we mark it as such.
Got it. So a standard process of going into your DNS, getting the code, putting it in there, calling it a day.
Absolutely.
Love it. Okay, I think moving on to our next topic. So everything we were just talking about was related to buyers and sellers and how they're working together on the platform, how we're making that easier. This next topic that we're going to talk about is all around improving lead quality and ROI. And so we had a couple questions about that. People were definitely interested in performance from poll 1. So this is the section where we're going to talk all about what we've been doing for this topic. We all want to know where our leads are coming from, kind of like Christopher is saying, but it's all about that conversion. And you can't really measure the performance of anything if you don't have that full 360 view and actually get the conversion event back to wherever that source was. And so we've been really helping in this area. So the first question that we have up here is, how is ActiveProspect improving our customers' lead conversion performance?
Yeah, we know if you're using a CRM like Salesforce, how important it is to track which leads convert and tie that back to where they came from. However, setting up feedback has traditionally been a technical process. You often need engineering help just to configure it properly, and even then, getting consistent ROI data back into LeadConduit can be tricky. We are changing that. Soon, you'll be able to set up conversion feedback while configuring your CRM delivery. No extra integration work is needed. You'll just select that you want to receive feedback, and LeadConduit will take care of the rest. This will allow you to, first, automatically send conversion outcomes from your CRM back to LeadConduit, identify which sources are generating actual results, and make smarter decisions about where to invest your budget. This new setup will launch with support for Salesforce first, with more CRMs to follow.
That sounds great. Seems like we're going to take a big load off of everybody trying to figure out how to get that conversion data back in. So that'll be really interesting. So let's actually look at poll 3, where we're asking a bit more about the different CRMs that people are using to track conversions. So the question for this poll is, which CRMs do you use to track your conversions? We have 4 of them listed here, but if you have a different one, please post that into the chat, where we have HubSpot as option 1, or Salesforce, HubSpot, Zoho, Lead Perfection. are the options there for the CRMs where your conversions are stored. And so it's like Leandro was saying, with Salesforce, you'll be able to set up your delivery, and then at the same time, you'll be able to just start syncing those conversions back all in the same integration. So definitely saving some time there. All right, the results are in. Drum roll. Oh, they're moving around. Christian.
And
Yeah.
I actually have a question coming up here around that. Is LeadConduit compatible with all CRMs?
So we have a specific set of CRM that works out of the box. You can find them in our online catalog. But you can also use custom integrations to connect with some specific CRMs that have APIs that allow you to connect that way.
Yeah, thank you for answering that. Okay, we have a tie. Salesforce and Zoho are coming in at the top, and then we have HubSpot as the second place. Oh, and it just flipped. It's a live poll. Salesforce just took over. Now I feel like I'm on a bike race. Salesforce is in the lead. We have Zoho coming in second and HubSpot in third. Okay. Good information to know, because I know we are prioritizing those different CRMs. And so whichever CRM is in the lead in this case, we'll take into consideration when we're looking at the roadmap.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll just comment, I'm not surprised by that one because Salesforce is super popular. I've always been more of a Salesforce guy myself, but it is super hard to integrate with. So if you are using Salesforce, take advantage of the connection that Leandro was just talking about. Use the feature because it's a lot easier when ActiveProspect does that for you rather than you having to try to find developers to do it yourself. Trust me, I've been there.
Yeah, and the why behind it is it can feed into your reporting, so you can actually look at what vendors or sellers are performing in with the rest of your lead data in LeadConduit, right? And I think there's some other things that are upcoming where we're going to be starting to share that more with your vendors. You could actually post that conversion data back to them, back to that first theme around buyers and sellers. So there's a ton of stuff that can happen once you get that data mapped and flowing where you want it to go.
Definitely. Also, quick shout out to Shushan, who shared that the other option that they use is Monday. That's interesting. We have too many customers using Monday as a CRM, so good to know.
To track conversions too. Ooh, interesting. We'll be reaching out if we get consent to reach out. Okay. The next question here is, can I optimize my ads based on what's working best?
I'll take that one. That's a good question. So we've been talking about conversion events, right? This is in your CRM, you have all these leads coming in, and somewhere in there you have a status column, right? Where you're updating the status of every lead. Did the lead actually make an appointment with your sales team? Did they show up? Did they convert or not? Won, lost, all of these things. Those are some of the conversion events. It's kind of like the disposition. What happened to the lead? And Leandro was talking about how we can take that information from your CRM and send it to your lead seller so that your lead seller can help optimize the performance of those leads and give you better and higher quality leads. But there's other places that you can send this data to that will improve your ad performance or your lead performance. And in this case, it's for lead generators, right? People that are running ads can take the same data that we're talking about and can send it over to the ad platforms, Meta, Google, TikTok, Snapchat, etc. And by sending that data over, we can essentially help the algorithm to automatically optimize and improve the performance of those ads. And so LeadsBridge, being kind of the social bridge inside of ActiveProspect, we've been working with the engineering teams inside of several of these mega companies. And we've been working on how do we streamline sending data from your CRM to the ad platforms in order for those algorithms to optimize in the best way possible. There's some stuff there that I can't share because I'm under NDAs and all that type of stuff. But we've released a new feature in LeadsBridge called Performance Booster, that essentially handles all of that for you and sends the correct data in the best way possible to drive those improvements in your ad performance. So give it a try. Right now, it is currently available for Meta and a select group of CRMs, but we are working quickly to expand that to more CRMs and more ad platforms as well.
All right, Christian, I have to do this one too. I'm gonna put a little strain on V&DA. You mentioned a lot of platforms that people can actually use. Which one do you think is the best at processing this data and improving their algorithm to get you better leads?
Ooh, you are putting me in a tough position. I work with all of these guys. This is not, I don't want them watching the recording and thinking I have a favorite. Here's what I'll say. I will say that Meta was the first one to come out with certain types of ads in the marketplace. They were the first ones with lead form ads and several others. And so a lot of what tends to happen is that Meta will make a change and that will kind of become the industry standard. And then other social networks will emulate what Meta is doing. And so all of that to say that they have taken a few steps that others haven't behind the scenes. I'm not saying anything that I can't say right now. But I will also say that the other ad platforms are quickly covering that gap. And they are all learning from each other very, very much. And they're leveraging things like Performance Booster and the communication that we have with them. And so I'm in a privileged position where I get to kind of see what they're working on and give them feedback. And so we've learned from our customers what you guys need. And we've learned from the engineers inside of the social networks what they need. And we're kind of interfacing between you guys and helping to drive those improvements. So it's a really cool job. Yeah.
That's exciting. So what I'm hearing is that they're all great options. Our customers should go use them all, get all the great leads that you can.
Of course.
And so with Performance Booster, that's really talking about pushing data to those ad platforms. But do you want to talk a little bit more about how a customer would improve their ad campaign?
Yeah, for sure. So kind of piggybacking on what I was talking about before, right? We have this really interesting position that we're in where we have access to the engineering teams that actually work on the algorithms inside of these mega companies. And we get to learn what works and what's on their roadmaps and all these different things. And while we can't necessarily share them with you verbally, we can build tools that help to automate these things for you. And so one of the things that we're working on now that we have not yet released in LeadsBridge is that we're going to be adding a section called Suggestions to Improve Ad ROI. And what we're doing is we are kind of looking at the data that is being sent between the ad platform and your CRM, and we're looking for ways that you can improve that so that your algorithm is fully trained and delivering the highest quality leads for you. And when you do that, you can see, and these are public stats, so I can share these. For example, 44% improvement in quality leads, right? We just saw in one of the earlier polls how people are really interested in kind of having better leads with better buyer intent. That's what we're talking about, right? The source of your leads can only optimize as well as the data you send them. And so you have to send them the data that they need. And so we're working on multiple fronts across ActiveProspect to help every step of the way with your lead vendors, as well as with the ad networks to improve that communication and streamline and ultimately drive better performance, higher ROI for lead buyers, because that's what it's all about.
That is what it's all about. Do you have any examples that you could sort of bring this to life with of a suggestion?
Sure. Yeah. So I mean, some of this stuff will be foundational, right? So some of these things are around the type of ads that you're running. Because you connect your ad account directly into LeadsBridge, we can see the types of ads that you're actually running. We can actually give you some feedback on that. We can actually provide feedback on the type of data that you are sending back and forth between them. So whether that's conversion events, as we've been talking about, but also the specific events that you're sending over, or whether you are using custom audiences or not, right? We can identify that and make suggestions for how to use that properly in order to improve the performance of your advertising. So we're really looking at that foundational structure. There's a lot of work that has been done on optimizing ad creatives and all of these things, but not a lot of people have the insider access to be able to talk about how to actually structure and automate the data to improve your ads on autopilot. And so that's kind of where we're really focusing.
Yeah, I got it. That makes sense. Any more questions on that section?
I think there might be one in the Q&A. Let me see here. Does integrating with these mega companies involve navigating a lot of red tape with LeadsBridge? I'll take that one, guys. No, on your end, we've really simplified this down. As an example, setting up conversions by Meta's own estimates. If you're going to set it up on your own with your own engineering team, it typically takes a couple of months. When you do it with LeadsBridge, it takes a couple of minutes. So it's really not a lot of red tape. We've tried to make it as simple as possible for this. And so last count, I think it's less than 10 clicks. You can set up conversions. So please go try it. It's fun.
Awesome. And so we've been talking about conversions out of Salesforce. We also talked a little bit about social ad platforms and getting conversions in and then back and then the loop there. But for teams using external data platforms, what is our event stream option and how is that going to help with this type of conversion analysis?
Yeah, until recently, if you wanted to stream event-level data out of LeadConduit, your only option was to send it to an AWS S3 bucket using our Firehose feature. Based on your feedback, we are expanding that. Our Firehose functionality will now include event streaming support for Microsoft Azure Blob Storage. This means you can now stream event-level data from LeadConduit directly to Azure, where your team can analyze it, power dashboards, or feed it into machine learning models, just like with AWS S3. This is a great way to gain real-time visibility into your lead flow, performance, and outcomes using the tools your data team already works with.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so if you're not using something like these ad platforms that have these feedback algorithms already built in, you can stream this data out of LeadConduit into one of these two tools right now that we have available and do your analysis there. And so that's been primarily for a more mature lead buyer segment, right? Those really big groups that already have a lot of data teams behind the scenes. And so this is just giving a second option to get that data out of LeadConduit, which makes sense. And so let's actually launch poll 4 at this time to see if there's other ways that people are using data storage. And so the question here is, are you using a data storage system like S3 bucket or blob storage? Our answers here are no, yes, AWS, or yes, Microsoft Azure Blob, or yes, Google Cloud's data stream, or yes, but a different option. And so like Christopher was saying at the beginning, the answers here always help us dive in more and figure out really where people are utilizing different things. And so...
Yeah. And I'll say this question might be gauging how technical the audience is too. There maybe should be another option that says, I don't know what the heck that is. As I'm sure a lot of people are thinking right now.
Should I be streaming my data to one of these places? Okay, those are coming in. I think the benefit of doing that and having a stream like that is really you can combine a bunch of different sets of data. So I think some things we've seen is people using suppression lists will also have their suppression list data in there with their customer lists to see which ones are duplicates and not. And so they can start to combine things and see, just do their own analyses, really. Okay, coming in on top is no.
I kind of guess that.
Yeah, our sub question could be why. Do you not know how? Or are you not using it? Okay, good. Cruising right along to our next topic. So we've wrapped up our collaboration between buyers and sellers. We've talked about a bit about ROI. Now we're going to talk about accelerating your success as a customer with smarter and faster onboarding. And so whether you're brand new to ActiveProspect or adding new functionality to your account today, we've really been making onboarding, and what that is to us is you getting started on whatever product or feature you're using. And we've been really making that faster, but also tailoring the experience to your specific goals. We've talked a lot about buyers and sellers, and so sometimes those goals really differ. And so we've been adding more tailored experiences so that that setup process can be a lot faster. And so for new users, the thing that I wanted to bring your attention to is we have a new onboarding dashboard. And so what does that mean? And so when you go into like I said, if you're just signing up, this is going to be all automatic for you. But if you're already an existing customer, you can go in and answer some segmentation questions. I buy leads, I sell leads, they're in these verticals, I'm actually contacting them, or oh no, so just really simple questions about your business. And based on those segmentation questions, we're actually customizing your checklist. You could think of it as you're going to be using the TrustedForm Retain product to store and retain those certificates. This is exactly how you do that. And so we give you a step-by-step based on the specific problem you're trying to solve. And so that is new, and it, like I said, is available if you're just signing up. But those segmentation questions are available if you wanted to just go and pop the answers in, and it's going to give you those individual checklists based on the features that will support you in getting that job done. So it's been pretty successful, and we've seen a lot of people go through it, and we're definitely watching that make onboarding a bit faster for everybody.
Yeah, I'll just add in there that I personally have loved this so much. One of the really cool things for me as the TrustedForm product manager has been seeing the people who go in there and they answer questions about, what they're trying to do, compliance related. And then we're able to suggest to them that they should use TrustedForm Verify. Because if you're not using TrustedForm Verify, you're not really confirming that any of your leads are compliant in any way. You're not checking for anything. You're just storing documentation of whatever happened. And sometimes what happened wasn't actually compliant. So take this as a plug also to everybody listening. If you're not using TrustedForm Verify, go start now. And if you haven't filled out that questionnaire, go fill it out, and then it should hopefully tell you to go use TrustedForm Verify.
Ooh, a test. And so if we're thinking about getting our customers started up and running as fast as possible, I know that LeadConduit's one of its main powerful things is that it is so powerful and flexible, right? That's one of the big value props. But how do flow templates help some of those users get started faster?
Yeah, we have heard from many of you that setting up a new flow often means repeating the same steps over and over. To save time and reduce that repetitive work, we will be rolling out flow templates. These templates will give you a pre-configured starting points with commonly used steps already in place. You just pick the one that fits your goal, like the ones you see here on the left, and LeadConduit builds the flow for you. You can still edit or adjust your flow as you like, but the heavy lifting is already done. This should be especially useful when you're launching new flows for new partners or campaigns.
Something as simple as a little template really helps out. I love that one. I know we have so many requests about it, so thank you. And so I know that we had something for certified too that just came out, right? Around onboarding?
Oh yeah, we actually took some time just to really look at that process. If you don't know, TrustedForm has been out since 2010. So it's been a while, and honestly, not a whole lot has changed with the process of implementing certified, getting the TrustedForm script on your page. For the longest time, definitely since I've worked here and before, everyone kind of said, oh yeah, if you want to use TrustedForm, just put the script on your page. And yes, it is pretty much that simple, but the problem is that not everybody knows exactly what that means. There are still different nuances that you need to consider, like depending on your actual setup. So sometimes it's not, exactly that straightforward. So what we did was actually look through the process. We tried to look and find areas that were a little confusing, first of all. There were some options there that were honestly old, a little outdated, that we removed and tried to simplify things for people as much as possible. So what we're left with now is just kind of a cleaner experience to kind of like guide you to exactly what you need. And then even more so, we added on actual product tours that will actually guide you through that. So it'll actually take you through the steps of saying, okay, you want to certify your leads. What you need to do is go here in the application, turn on these features, copy the JavaScript snippet, and then paste it, in a certain place on your website. And it gives you a bunch of nice links and everything to help you out if you have more advanced use cases too. So it's just a really nice way to kind of like walk people through the process rather than leaving you to fend for yourself as much.
Got it. That sounds like there's a lot there. Is there anything around domains and subdomains that you want to hit related to making, getting people up and running faster?
Yeah, that's an important one too. Of course, we've already been talking about making sure that you confirm ownership of your domains. One of the bigger problems when we first released that process was that there are a lot of people who have a lot of subdomains associated with their domain. So let's say I have a website called leads.com. My subdomains may be homeinsurance.leads.com or insurance.leads.com. And there are a number of our customers who just have, dozens and dozens of subdomains. So going through that process for each and every single one was very, very tedious. So what we actually did was make that easier for you because we don't want you to spend all day adding records to your DNS. So now all you have to do is essentially go confirm that you own the top level domain. So in my example, that would have been leads.com. And then you can just simply check a box that says, hey, I also own all of the subdomains too. And then by checking that box, you don't have to go through the process for each and every single one. And then the nice thing is that once you do check that box, you can also use all the cool features that we provide to domain owners. Things like the auto retain feature. You can turn that on for your top level domain as well as all of your subdomains and automatically retain all of those certificates. In addition, any of the certificates that you generate from those, you'll be able to see them before you even retain them. So that's super useful. Maybe while you're testing out TrustedForm, you want to see exactly what gets recorded, make sure you're providing the right documentation to your buyer. You don't have to actually pay for it and retain it. You can just, generate it and then automatically see it because we know it's your certificate. So you should be able to see it automatically. So yeah, all of that really makes the process a lot easier.
Yeah, auto retain is one of those hidden gems, right? Where you can just, like you said, retain all of the certificates coming from a specific domain after a submit, correct?
Yeah, that is a key point. And thanks for pointing that out. One of the things that I think a lot of people don't realize is that TrustedForm is, capturing events anytime somebody lands on a web page, but not every person who lands on your web page becomes a lead, right? So the way that we really differentiate that is whether or not we can tell that the person landed on your web page and also submitted a form. So as long as we see that happen, then we'll go ahead and retain that certificate for you.
Yeah. So you confirm your domain, you're generating leads from that. You turn on auto retain. If you have some subdomains confirmed as well, you could start retaining for all of those. You can view them before they're retained. It's really a big efficiency boost. That's great. Okay, so as we're still talking about areas where we, the product team, are making it easier and faster to get started, we're going to launch poll 5 and see if there's any areas where we should really be digging in a bit more. And so the question here is what is the most challenging part of working with these AP products right now? All about transparency here at AP.
And while people are answering that, we actually do have a question in the Q&A section. Heather writes in and says, I agree that we should start using Verify, but how does Verify work with publishers that are still using a partner list? How would it scan the list?
That is a great question. So let me first just start off by saying the long list of marketing partners probably not the most compliant way to go about things. So you may actually want to have a conversation with your partners just about why they're using that rather than actually listing your name in the consent language first. But I know that that is a very commonly used method. So of course, it's something that is going to happen, right? So today, Verify can't actually go and scan that list, but when they present the link to that list, it should still be inside of a consent language. And what you're going to want to do with Verify is still make sure that that consent language that is coming in meets your standards. So you're going to want to make sure that it mentions that they're going to be contacted for marketing purposes. You want to make sure that it aligns with the eSign Act. You want to make sure that it says things like that no purchase is necessary, and just everything else that your compliance team should be telling you has to be there, right? And it's going to say that they give that consent to everybody listed in that giant marketing list. So work with your compliance team to make sure that that is acceptable, first of all. But if it is, then you're basically just going to want to use Verify to make sure that that language matches up to what's supposed to be there. And then you are going to still want to, audit the actual website, look at it. You want to go look at that list yourself, just to make sure that you are listed there.
Thanks for the question, Heather. Okay, back to our poll. It looks like at the top in first place is initial setup and configuration as the most challenging part. And so that initial setup piece of what we talked about with the onboarding wizards will definitely help give you the guidance to get you through that configuration. So that's definitely our top. And then other is actually number 2. So I'm going to look in the chat, see if we have any info on that. Not looking like it's there, but third place after other is I'm not sure which features are available or best for my needs. And so that's another area where those questions that are available, and I think we posted the link, but in your account, in the main part of your account, if you haven't filled out those questions, you can go and just click, I think it says fill out segmentation questions, something pretty basic like that, where you could go in and you could answer those questions. And that's actually going to, behind the scenes, tell you and enable what features are going to get you to whatever problems you're trying to solve based on those questions. So they're really powerful. It's not just telling you how to set something up, but it'll automatically enable what you need and then tell you what to do to go set it up. So we kind of hit both of those through those 2 features that we were talking about.
Yeah, and I'll just also throw on there that initial setup is always going to be kind of a complicated task, right? So we're obviously here to make it as easy as possible for you. Number 1, if you don't know, we have an amazing support team that is available to everyone. So I would definitely recommend trying them out. But also, if you are a contracted customer with us, you have access to a dedicated client success manager who will also help you walk through things. You'll get paired up with an implementation engineer as well, who will also do the same, walk you through all the technical challenges. And then lastly, if you're finding yourself still needing help, or especially if you want to kind of share what things are hard for you, I already have insight that there's another poll question coming up later that's going to ask you if you want to talk to the product team. And while you're giving your feedback, we're also able to kind of help you through things, and you'll help improve that process for people in the future as well. So that's just a nice little way to get help for yourself while you're also helping the product as well. Yeah.
Thanks for shouting out to everybody else at AP. I love it. Okay. And so I think the last thing on this section that we wanted to talk about was something that we're calling a unification effort of the apps. And so in Q2, what you would have seen as a LeadConduit customer is that suppression list is now merged in to LeadConduit. And upcoming, we're going to be migrating all of our products into one space. And so that single experience is going to allow us to streamline a lot of that configuration and setup and make it easier and feel and look the same across all of the different products that I mentioned at the beginning. And so you'll start to see that slowly happening, and as we merge and unify the different product apps into one space. And so nothing's functionally changing necessarily about all of that, but it's really just unifying so that we can optimize.
Yeah, and I'll just add that it's going to make some processes a lot easier, especially some things that I know happen in TrustedForm. Today, you may be setting up something in TrustedForm, and then you have to switch applications to go finish another setup step, but then come back to TrustedForm. After we actually unify all of the applications together, you'll be able to stay in one place, bounce around a whole lot less. That means fewer clicks. You'll be able to find everything easily because it's kind of all showing in that same navigation menu. And we just really hope that'll improve the experience that you have by a lot. So this is us trying to make your lives easier working with our products for sure.
Always trying to make their lives easier. Okay, we have some time check. We have 10 minutes left. Christopher, I want to hand it over to you to just talk a little bit more about building trust and scaling with TrustedForm Verify. So maybe let's take 5 minutes and then we'll do a little Q&A at the end for the last 5.
Sounds great. So I already kind of shouted out TrustedForm Verify. Hopefully you've gotten the picture that it's a really important thing that I think a lot of people aren't taking advantage of right now, and you should. So number one, like, what does TrustedForm actually do, and why should you care about it? Like I said, with Retain or any of our past legacy TrustedForm products, you're really documenting an experience that a lead went through, but you're not doing any significant checks to make sure that experience is compliant. And that's exactly what TrustedForm Verify does. It actually allows you to make sure that things like the consent language that was shown was actually one that you have approved. We have a couple of other newer checks too, where you can check things like to make sure that the font size of the consent language was actually large enough, to check to make sure that it was visible because it didn't blend in with the background, meaning that the contrast ratio is actually high enough to be seen. You can make sure that the opt-in method that the lead uses is one that you want, meaning like you can make sure they actually check the checkbox, or maybe it is okay that they didn't check a checkbox and they just click the submit button. Maybe it's okay if that checkbox was pre-filled. Maybe it's not. These are all things that you should absolutely consider in your compliance practices, and Verify helps you to verify that it's what you expected. So it's super useful for anybody who is focused on compliance. And the other thing is that this is different from just viewing a certificate, right? Like, if you wanted to be 100% compliant without Verify, you could absolutely go and view every single certificate for all the leads that you get and make sure that it all looks good. If you want to do that, all the power to you. Most people don't have the time. You're bringing in way too many leads for that to be a scalable solution. TrustedForm Verify is going to actually go do the looking for you. It'll go check those things so that you don't have to actually look, once again, at every single one manually. And one of the things that people wonder a lot is just kind of what does the setup actually look like for it? Now, we have a Verify implementation guide that you should definitely take a look at, and that's going to be posted in chat. And it's a really simple process, honestly. For the most part, what you're doing is number one, making sure that your vendors actually are passing TrustedForm certificates. That's always going to be kind of a prerequisite there. And then you're going to want to actually start using Verify so that you can detect the consent languages that they're actually using. And generally, you want to do this by having them just send in a number of test leads. Once that happens, we'll show you all of those consent languages and basically just let you say yes or no as to whether or not you want those. And you can also, set things like what the minimum threshold you want to accept for font size and all the other. Everything is working good, then you're ready to actually start using it in production and maybe start filtering out the leads that do not pass verification. And this process is actually made super simple in LeadConduit. Leandro, did you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, we have made it really simple to use it in LeadConduit. You just go to the Add Add-on Step modal and select TrustedForm. Then within that, you select that you want to use the Verify feature. Choose whether you want to enable one-to-one consent, and that's it. Once it's in place, every lead passing through your flow will automatically be evaluated using TrustedForm Verify, giving you deeper insights into consent, authenticity, and quality. You will be also able to filter based on the font check or those other features that you were mentioning.
Yeah, so that is super easy. If you don't have a development team who's ready to work in the API, LeadConduit is absolutely the way to go there. Then another quick question that people ask is kind of like, what does the seller have to do so that, as a buyer, I can actually use Verify? Well, it kind of depends on what features you're going to use. But I'll say what we want all of our sellers to do is actually go in and add trusted form consent tags to their form. And that's just a fancy technical way of saying we want them to tell us like where the important parts for compliance are in the form, like where the consent language is, where the submit button is, where the advertiser names are listed and things like that, because then we just know exactly where to check. Now, if they don't do that, it's generally okay. We can still perform honestly every one of our checks except the one-to-one consent check. Most of you probably aren't performing the one-to-one consent check though, unless you're involved in Medicare lead. So generally not really a huge concern there. But if they don't actually tag it, we'll still use AI essentially to try and find all of those things for them. And I already talked about all of the different features that we have. Like I said, checking for font size, contrast ratio, and all of that. A lot of people are just kind of wondering, all right, so if I use this, does that mean that like my lead is compliant? And I'm going to say this in a very careful way. First of all, I'm not a lawyer. None of this is legal advice. It's purely informational. But it's always very hard to ever say that 100% your lead is compliant. What Verify is doing is checking for very common use cases that are things that are concerning and will affect compliant. So we're telling you exactly what things that we're checking for. There are always going to be outliers out there that could still trip you up. So which is once again why we always recommend making a plan with your compliance team, with your legal team to integrate this, but you're still going to have to look at the whole picture to make sure that all of your leads are actually compliant.
You ran a little bit over, but we don't have any questions because we've been so good at answering them as they've been coming up. That was a great overview of Verify, so thanks for having that nice little plug at the end. We're getting to the last part of our webinar. It flew right by. I'm not seeing any more questions in the chat. We were on top of that, so we should be good to go. And so we have just a few little call to actions and closing remarks. And so, like we said, kind of sprinkled throughout this, if you want to engage with us, anybody on the product team, we're always available to talk or to include you in a research project. So it could be talking about how you're tracking conversions in Monday, or it could be, hey, I actually have started to use Verify and I have some feedback that I want to give to you. It really could be anything. And so we're going to launch this poll, and while you're answering it, we just want you to know that your feedback is super integral to everything that we design and build. And so we would love to talk to you. And the poll is up, and it is basically asking if you'd like to talk to us about your experience. Option 1, heck yeah, I can talk about this all day. Option 2, no thanks, but I would like to receive a demo of your products, or just a straight no thanks, which we also respect because everybody's busy and we know that. And so if you do choose to reach out to us or have us reach out to you, we'd love to hear from you. If you don't want us to reach out to you, there's also a link that we're going to post into chat where you can just give us some product feedback. Just post it to us. We look at everything that comes in. So please, if you have any feedback, that's a secondary option where you can just post directly to us. The other thing that we're going to be posting into the chat is our What's New link. So if you're ever wondering what's new or what's just come out or want some more information, this is where we would direct you to go. And it's just what's new.activeprospect.com, and it'll give you everything at AP that is new and all of the links and everything and why you'd want to use it and all that jazz. And so we are doing these product reviews quarterly or seasonally, actually. So this is our summertime one. So we will be doing a fall session as well. But the next webinar that we're doing, if you wanted to save your seat for that, is called ROI to Survive, Marketing at Full Speed Without Crashing into the TCPA. And that is going to be on August 6th. So if you wanted to reserve your seat, we'll also post that into the chat. Those are all the links that we are going to be throwing at you. I just wanted to thank all of the product managers for being on the call today and for all of the work that you're doing and listening to customers and building all of these things with value. And so we really hope that you walk away with some ideas on how to use some of these products more in your day-to-day. And we're interested in talking to you if you want to talk more about any of them. So if you want to reach out, great. But thank you for listening to us, and have a good rest of your summer, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.